Welcome to another edition of Bowie TV's Youth, Community, and Lifestyle. During this hour, we're bringing you highlights from some of our shows focused on youth, community, and lifestyle. Please be sure to give us a follow on all of our social platforms. First, on How to Steam Your Dreams, tune into more of the action from the 2025 DMV Ocean Bowl Games. On Read Science, author Steve Gullans continues the conversation on all things DNA and human cell biology. Also, tune into the informative City of Bowie's Mayoral Candidates Forum for this year's special election. Next on the Spotlight DMV, Eze Okwodu is back and discussing how to build a personal brand that lasts with the times. Then on Simply Bowie, we learn about the most recent housing market trends and tips for first-time buyers with Ayana Brickhouse. Thank you for tuning into this week's programming of Bowie TV's Youth, Community, and Lifestyle.
We could preserve it.
That's an interesting point. And actually, I was just saying, you keep mentioning Juan, and I want to, I think as part of our mission here, we like to talk about how do you do what you do. So how did you and Juan get together and then decide to write a book and say, you know, and of course Juan's all over TED and you're on TED
Right.
Talks. And, you know, so a very important part of what you are doing is communicating the science you are studying and contemplating and thinking about and helping others do.
Right.
So let's back up and talk a little bit about how you and Juan came together, and then, you know, how you guys made it your mission that, you know, we want to tell the world about this.
Right. Over 10 years ago, maybe closer to 15 now, Juan and I were both faculty members at Harvard. He was at the business school, I was at the medical school. He was focusing on life sciences and the economic implications of the genomics revolution. And I was working in genomics with sequencing and everything else. But we kept bumping into people who said, you two think and talk a lot alike about big concepts. And so eventually we ended up, it's a little complicated, we ended up leaving and actually sharing an office right after we left Harvard, looking at small companies from an entrepreneurial perspective, but chatting all the time about the big ideas. And so we eventually went on to found a venture firm because we wanted to have a pot of money so our smart friends could help. We could help their ideas move forward and help humanity, bring new antibiotics out and new therapies for cancer and new biofuel, algae, things like that. And we've been doing that. That's our day job. We also sit, and I regularly go see scientists, as does Juan, who are big thinkers and really creating things that will impact the world in 20, 30, 40 years. And when it came time to write the book, Juan's a spectacular writer and a very natural communicator. I'm kind of stuck being a scientist where you live within the boundaries of what you absolutely observed and measured.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't speculate, well, if it was in worms, you can't speculate it must be in humans.
Right.
I'm taking someone out to lunch next week, and you say, why are you contacting me? I said, I want to know you to speculate what your worm data means for humans. And so when we put the book together and we write it, it's very much a readable text because Juan is a communicator and knows how to talk to people. I have a lot of experience talking to lay audiences, but we're talking about complex science being reduced to a level that my mother can understand.
Right.
And that's what we try to make work. At the same time, the science has to be credible. One of the things I learned in writing this is most science books are written by journalists who are not themselves practicing scientists. I've been a scientist for many years. I can speak the science language. And so I didn't know that. So there's some new theories or concepts in the book. The idea of 4 genomes and a hologenome is a new concept. The idea of a domesticated human is a new concept. You don't see the, they make sense. That is new for scientists who are enjoying the book. It's also new. It's not known to be new to lay readers, and Juan and I seamlessly, by going back and forth, iterate it in a way that it appears to be easy to read and understandable while being scientifically credible. And that's what it comes down to. It's this iterative process.
I've been thinking about it as I read and evaluate the books that we read, because I just can't help it. The ones that I value, and I'll give you high marks for that, is I don't think I mind the necessary abstraction and sort of averaging over of some things in order to talk about big ideas at a level that more people can approach, as long as it's done with the right care and precision, so that you don't say anything that misleads the naive reader, because I think that's sort of the most egregious mistake. And so if you can do that with precision without being misleading, that's the world's best thing. And I didn't find anything. A couple points where I may wonder, but I'm not a biologist either. But I didn't find anything that offended my sensibility that struck me that you were misleading or anything. So I think that's very well done, and that's my main criterion for popular science, I think.
Well, good. Well, we haven't had any complaints yet from any of the scientists we cite in it, so we'll see how that works out. Hopefully, it'll remain that way.
One thing you said, though, it's like, so you go out and you talk to scientists about, their worms and things. Why do you do that? Is that part of the venture capital picture, or was that part of your gathering this information because you're a conduit for these things?
It's my hobby to begin with. I start every morning for 30 minutes. I go see what's new in the news. I mean, the hottest news for me the last week was they found the epigenetic on switch in paper cell. But that's what I want to take someone out to lunch. I want to say, oh my God, I was predicting it a few years ago, because it said there has to be one. I was asking scientists, and they were living within their four boundaries of what we know. And here it finally emerges, just because from an evolutionary perspective it makes sense. But so I just see something like that in some of the literature that comes over the internet, and I just get on it and say, and now I have a venue, because the book is non-threatening to scientists. If I'm a venture capitalist, they say, oh, he's going to steal all my ideas and everything. Which isn't true, by the way. But, but I help people think about how their ideas can translate into a bigger context, into even a way to help humans with diseases or other things.
Right.
And that's just very natural. It's the same for Juan. We have a lot of dinners with innovative thinkers, and we like to bring people together. It's the old salon style of the 19th century.
So do you, let me ask first, Shift, just real quick.
Go ahead.
So do you do, what's going on here? Do you do really well in Nobel Prize guessing polls? You talk to so many innovative people. I'm just curious.
In terms of timing, no, but in terms of knowing what's coming, pretty well.
That's good.
We're very good friends with the individual, Erling Norby, who is the individual who made the calls to the Nobel laureates for many years. And he was in town about 6 months ago. And it's so funny to hear his stories about how nobody ever believes it when they get the phone call. So.
Even like Yamanaka, because everybody for years and years said, oh, Yamanaka, he's got to get it. He's got to get this, right? And so for those who are watching, Yamanaka was the one who was able to induce pluripotency from already differentiated cells.
Yeah. It still comes as a shock, and there's a lot of good stories. But in terms of picking that, because those are single individuals, picking fields and areas that are going to be transformative. We were writing about CRISPR, a year and a half ago for the book. Now it's everywhere, and we see the most interesting thing about the book in terms of what I've seen in the last 5 years is 5 years ago, the New York Times or any media outlet on Google or anything that had an article about science, about once a month had an article that would have been cited in our book. Now it's several a day. And it's because we're now having dialogues about the concepts that are in the book.
Right. something that you mentioned when you were just now in passing, talking to scientists and helping them see how they can help people.
Yeah.
When we were talking recently with people about the genetic basis of cancer and possible therapies and things, one question that I had for them was, I was thinking back to the days, and I was even old enough to know it, when Nixon declared war on cancer. And my question then for them was, did it make sense to declare war on something where you didn't understand the enemy yet? And what you just said made me think, all of this new understanding about the genome, the epigenome, all these other things that are going on, how these connect with diseases and things, has our understanding changed profoundly enough now in the next 20, 30, last 20 years that we're seeing new insights. We're getting new insights, right, into how we can go about finding therapies for some really pretty serious diseases.
You're going to see a transformative, enormous change in the therapies for cancer in the next 5 years. Moses. The idea that we overestimated the genome in the early going and have underestimated it now couldn't be more true, because I'm seeing them firsthand. Small companies, these early stage IPOs, and it's really third generation technologies where we've gone from just doing simple things, taking what nature made. Take insulin and give it to a diabetic, that works, but take an interferon and give it to somebody with hepatitis, it doesn't cure them. They die from the interferon.
Right.
And so
my name is Gary Allen. I'm one of the hosts for St. Matthew's United Methodist Church, which is the sponsoring organization as a civic duty. We can do that because the race for mayor or any council member is a non-partisan race, okay? As a matter of fact, of the 163 municipalities in Maryland, only 3 have partisan races. We're not one of them. This is one of the few events that's available to the citizens to actually talk to, view, and hear from the candidates in a unique situation called a special election. There aren't many special elections in the history of this community. As a matter of fact, when it was originally incorporated, we didn't have special elections. The mayor pro tem automatically succeeded the mayor if he left office. But the charter was changed in the late 1990s, early 2000s, I don't remember exactly, and we adopted a special election process, much like Maryland uses in other situations for our House of Delegates and other elections like county council. Having said all of that, I want to welcome you to St. Matthew's United Methodist Church. It's our pleasure to provide this opportunity for you to meet the candidates for mayor for the city on a special election to be held on April 6th.
7.
Of 2026.
7.
Did I say it wrong? Well, I thought it was April. It's not April 6th, it's April 7th. April 7th, Tuesday. Thank you for that correction. It is a very special election. Having said all of that, I just wanted to share, we're very enthusiastic to have you here this evening. I had the pleasure of reading a book this past week. I want to recommend it. It's called Boss Lincoln. Boss Lincoln, there are over 2,000 books about President Lincoln, and the most recent one, and probably one of the most unique, talks about Lincoln as a partisan official. I said this was nonpartisan. I raised that because while he was a Whig, which was in 1847, and he was looking to run for Congress at that time, he made a remarkable quote. He says, "We're boiling over in ambition with too few opportunities to accommodate it. We only have one mayor, and we have a lot of candidates who want to pursue that opportunity." We're going to hear from them this evening. It's my pleasure now to turn to our co-presenter this evening. He's going to ask a lot of the questions. Sue.
Gary, and welcome everybody. We're going to get right to it. But first, I want to thank the folks who have helped make this possible. George in the back, wave your hand. He's our community television man. You can clap for him. All right. That's the last clap, because being recorded, it interferes with what's going on. So thank you for that. But I want to, our greeters, Maureen Fine and Ellen Moore and Dr. Latoya Phillip, you just raise your hand. Thank you for them. To Dr. Zipporah Miller, who's right here. She's the microphone maven. So when the audience gets up to speak, she's the bad guy. You know, if you go on, you dribble, you do something, she's going to stop you. Then we have our invaluable timers, John Teasdale and Serena Powers, right here helping us out. But I also want to take a moment to thank our pro tem mayor, Dufour Wolfley, for carrying on in this really challenging time. No city manager, no mayor, but here's our mayor. And thank you so much, Dufour. Okay, as I said, there's no applause. We're going to, well, after that, that's it. At the end, you can do that, but we want to stay as quiet as possible. And let's begin. What we want to do is to give each of the candidates a chance to introduce themselves. Now, Sephora rolled the dice before, and number 4 came up. So whoever's number 4 is going to begin by introducing themselves. They each have 1 minute, which is being timed.
Michael Estave.
Conrad Nakembe.
Next.
Wanda Rogers.
Roxy and Debu Madu.
Takesha Brown.
Rebecca Pierce.
Babatunde Alegbeleye.
Remington, Tennessee.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Roxy and Debu Madu, and I want to start by thanking the organizers, thanking all of the candidates for being here this evening. I currently am the District 4 City Council representing the city of Bowie. And for the last 6 years of my life, I have represented District 4 proudly and graciously. As the former mayor pro tem, 27 of my 32 years have been spent in Bowie. We moved to the city of Bowie in 1999 when we relocated from Greenbelt, Maryland. I am a product of Bowie High School and a graduate of the amazing Howard University here in Washington, D.C., and am now the proud founder of a neuroscience technology company. I decided to put my hat in for mayor because I understood what Bowie was leaving on the table and had the experience in my former career in big tech, working at Microsoft and Amazon and other technology companies, how to go out there and get it. And so, thank you.
Good evening. I am Takesha Brown. I stand before you as a mother, a community leader and activist, as a mentor, and more importantly, as your candidate. I am running because Bowie deserves leadership that understands, listens, and delivers real results in public accountability, economic development, education, and youth. I am a native Washingtonian, District of Columbia educated, American University undergrad, Georgetown Law, JD, and LLM in taxation, and Harvard University School of Business, certificate in reimagining strategy. I have over 30 years of professional experience managing multi-million-dollar budgets and also people. And I have also bring transparency, accountability, and listening ear as your mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rebecca Pierce, and with my name being Rebecca in Hebrew, it means to tie or bind, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here in Bowie. I've been a resident of Bowie for over 10 years. I went to Benjamin Tasker, Bowie High School, and then I graduated from the illustrious Howard University with a degree in political science. Since graduating, I've navigated different areas of the political arena, and I've been in advocacy my entire life. I love people, I love community, bringing people together, and just advocating for the change that I've always wanted to see since I was younger. I truly believe right now it's imperative for the younger generation to step up and be the change that this world needs. It's time for us to invest in our future because it belongs to us, and that's why I'm running, to make that change and encourage the youth to step up. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Before we start, I think we should put a little prayer for Mr. Brady. He would have been here this evening, but because he's sick, that's why he's not able to be here. So let's put a little prayer for him. Babatunde Alegbeleye has been rooted in this city for over 30 years. As a resident, a taxpayer, and a neighbor, I am not a career politician looking for a stepping stone. I am a concerned citizen who has watched this beautiful city evolve and intimately familiar with its specific hyper-local challenges. I have built a thriving life, career, and family in Bowie. My story is the true American story in real life. I am the bridge between Bowie's past proud history and its dynamic future. I am your next mayor.
My name is Remington, Tennessee, and I am a proud, lifelong resident of Bowie, Maryland. I've attended Pointer Ridge Elementary School. I've graduated from Bowie State University. I'm back at Bowie State University right now pursuing a master's in school counseling. I believe that Bowie has so much potential, and the way that we can really grow that potential is by getting our youth more invested. I believe with my background in education and in counseling that the growth of our community would definitely start with the youth, but it would travel upwards. I'm not a politician. I'm not going to use this for any sort of like growth to the next thing. I am a educator in the community who cares about wanting to keep Bowie as beautiful as it should be.
Thank you.
Good evening. We can do so much better than that. I know it's a Thursday night. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Michael Esteve. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a lifelong Bowie resident raised by a Prince George's County public school teacher and a U.S. Army officer. I'm a product of Prince George's County Public Elementary and Middle Schools, DeMatha High School, and Loyola University, Maryland, where I double majored in political science and French because I wanted to be unemployable in 2 languages. After college, I went to work as a small business loan officer supporting customers in and around Bowie. In 2015, I ran for and was elected to the Bowie City Council and changed my day job to the nonprofit sector, where I worked supporting kids and adults with intellectual disabilities. Most recently, I was appointed Deputy Communications Director of a $4.3 billion state agency. In my 10 years on the Bowie City Council, I'm most proud to have fought consistently to preserve green and open space, to consistently oppose special developer tax deals, to establish new parks, new trails, all the while keeping our property tax rate flat for 14 consecutive years, growing our reserve fund, and protecting our AAA bond rating.
Thank you, Michael.
I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Conrad Nakimbi. So I'm not AI, as everybody else is, practicing things. But I can tell you that I come from a political background. My father was going to be president of Cameroon, but this is America. I was born here in San Francisco, and my mom was Black American. So the goal here, in terms of success, you think of every politician, they've been in these positions, whether it's, council members, but everything is similar. So how can you change everything? So what I'm doing is I have networks, I have lots of connections. I graduated from UMGC, graduated from Prince George's Community College, and also, I've got top schools like Harvard University, et cetera, I got accepted into. Both of my parents went to Harvard. So the goal here is to transition in terms of children developing their financial status and to be financially free.
Thank you. Wanda?
Good evening, Bowie. So glad to be here with you tonight. I'm Wanda Rogers. I'm Bowie City Council member at large. I have been a resident of the city of Bowie for almost 27 years, where my husband and I own a small business over in Pointer Ridge, Bowie, I'm sorry. It is my pleasure to be here. I will tell you that I have spent the last couple years learning and understanding municipal government. I had spent 37 years in the federal sector, Department of Treasury, where I was a senior executive, a part of that elite service responsible for the financial operations of the federal government. I wasn't responsible for billions of dollars, I was responsible for trillions of dollars. And I also was responsible for over 3,000 employees. I believe that with a weak mayor form of government, We need someone that has leadership experience, someone that can negotiate and build relationships among not only our council, but our, you see, John, you just threw me off. Thank you.
Thank you, Wanda. All right, now we're going to move on to the first question. This is a question that we're going to give to them, and following their answers, and each one will have 1 minute, then it will be the audience time to do that.
A little bit more conservative style because I'm conservative in my style, and I was just like, yeah, that's me. Let's do it. So I talked to him about it. I set up a meeting. I called him. I like, yo, Sam, let's meet at this time. He was like, yeah, come through. So I came to the shop. We had to sit down, and I broke it down to him, and I told him, I broke everything down. And he was just like, yeah, we should do it. And I thought he was gassing me. I was just like, I was like, what do you mean we should do it? He's like, nah, it's a great idea. Let's do it. I was like, man, stop playing, man. I'm serious. He was like, no, for real, let's do it. Then he bought a pen, he started sketching. He started writing out the colors we're going to be using for my collection, which would be like gray, black, just more, conservative colors. And, next thing it just happened. It's kind of crazy. Cause I didn't expect him to say yes. I know that I was shooting my shot, but he said yes so fast. I was surprised. He was just like, yeah, let's do it. It's a great idea, like that,
And, I think that also speaks to, again, how you present yourself and being able to get an opportunity.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine, you were already dressing a certain way and showing up a certain way, but maybe he wouldn't have taken you so seriously.
Yeah,
Yes. And so when folks wear your clothing line, because clothes is also an expression, and myself, that was a lot of the way that I would express myself, because I love classic lines but what I also liked is color. I like colors and patterns, but I still want like a classic cut, right? And so these were things that I could still use for years to come.
Yeah.
And so what do you want your clothing line to convey, and how do you want people to feel when they're wearing it?
I want him to feel how I feel, like, like a serious person, a determined person, a person with passion. I want him to feel that, like, okay, I'm getting a piece of the easy way. Just, to stand for what the easy way stands for, which are those things? Discipline, commitment, dedication to whatever your craft is, Yeah, that's how I want him to feel.
And I know we saw some of the samples in the first episode of The Easy Way. And so I'll make sure to include those here. And what I really liked, there was a jacket in particular, and it was navy with some red and a little white trim as well. And it had your logo on
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I was like, oh, that is
Yeah.
sharp. Yeah, and it was exactly what I'm talking about. It reminded me of almost like a prep school uniform.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that is just something that is classic that you could wear over and over and over again. So I was sitting here like, yeah, I need to get me one of those.
Yeah. I'll hook you up.
And so for someone that is watching, who's trying to build their own brand, whether that's in business, media, or their career, there are a few things that really matter. I think first that folks need to decide what they want to be known for.
Yeah.
Because if you don't define that, people will define it for you. And I have found that in the beginning of my journey, when I was not clear about what I wanted the spotlight to be, I would listen to what people said and kind of go with that. But now I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, I know who I am, I know what I want this to be, and I know what I want people to get from it. So how did you decide what you wanted to be known for in real estate? Because I know we have the big goal, right? Yeah.
A million families and a million homes. It just built up to that point. I knew I was trying to do something great with real estate. And I was just consistently working, and I was consistently reading. Then everything just somehow just kind of merged together. There was no particular time that it was like, it just kind of just all just came together, and it was like magic. Yeah.
Yeah, and that like you're saying, that happens over time. And so to your second point, consistency,
Yeah.
right? That is what it takes, because a brand isn't built from one appearance. It's built from what you do day after day after day. Because I could say that I want to sell 1 million homes to 1 million families. But if I'm not out there doing the work, what does that mean, right?
Yeah, it's easy to say.
Exactly, exactly. So talk to us about consistency and why that is so important for you.
Yeah, because this is important in everything. Like every single thing. Like anything you think of. Think of anything. Like this chair we're sitting on, there was somebody who was consistent with a dream that made this chair happen. Everything you do, working out, it's anything. And it was really, really big for me because I made my decision, and every single day I decided I was going to do at least one thing, more than one though, but like at least one thing that relates to my brand and building my brand. And I just kept on doing it every single day, Saturday, Sunday, Christmas Day, New Year's Day, just constantly. And sometimes it might be 2 things, 3 things, 4 things, 5 things. And because of all those things you're doing, more things just start happening. And people start watching you. And people could feel your energy. And sometimes people just bring things to you like, hey, do this. And your fire just keeps on building and building until your fire is so massive that it's just heating up everywhere. Consistency, man, that's the secret.
And that's what builds the trust, you know, when I could say anything, but what am I doing to get to that? And so on to that, the third piece is investing in your growth. You know, you've talked about self-development a lot, and that is a part for me that got me to this point. You know, I did not know anything about recording, about audio, about editing. And my very first episode of the Spotlight, I had a friend that helped me out with it. And so he did it for me, and it was fine. But I have a way that I envision something to be. And so my thing was, now, if I'm going to be doing this all the time, I don't want to, I don't have no money to pay nobody. And I don't want to burden my friend with this project that I'm doing. And right now, I don't know where it's going to take me. And so I went to YouTube University. YouTube University. But that's the thing. It's like, I would watch stuff all the time. Okay, so what is the best way to record with your phone? What are the best mics that work with your phone? How do you do the lighting? How do you position people? Like all of those things that people are now asking me about, which I never dreamed, because I still don't look at myself as a video expert. It's just things that I was like, I need to get this done. And I don't know how to do it, but I know where I can find out how to do it. And then even once I got past where I felt like I couldn't find the right curriculum to really guide me, you know, I had to put stuff together. I was like, well, where can I go to actually, I wanted to pay. I'm going to pay somebody now to teach me this, because I wanted to invest in the work that I was doing, because I wanted people to take what I was doing seriously. Yes. And so if I'm showing up and the video don't look right, or you can't hear what the person is saying, who would want to come on a show like that? Yeah. So tell us about that, about personal investments that you made that helped you grow into the professional that people see today.
So many things. Like my big thing, I talk about this often. Like I talk about books. So books, I read every day. You know, I do a lot of Audible because of the nature of my job, I'm constantly moving. So books. So I invest as any amount of money in books. My brand. So one of the things I do is I have different guys that make T-shirts for me. They make T-shirts with my brand. They make hoodies for me with my brand, and I give it away. And what that does is like people, appreciate it for one, and it's also great exposure.
Yeah.
So investing in your brand is a huge part. And I know how difficult it is because when I talk to other entrepreneurs about it, they're like, man, I could use that money to buy lunch, I could use that money for this. But taking a small percentage out of everything you make and reinvesting it into your business, education, merchandise that you can give away to people so people can remember you, so people could feel a connection with you. I mean, some people will throw it away, but a lot of people who wear that much with pride, like, oh, this is from the easy way, or, things like that. And doing that over years, even before you get big, just reinvest in reading, knowledge, classes, master classes, seminars. Just do that. It's really, really important. It's helped me a whole lot.
Yeah.
Reading, I'm telling you. It's crazy how reading works because I can't really specify or say, there's one book that was very helpful, 10X, but like I read so many other books, but the information from all these different books kind of merges in your brain somehow. I don't know if anybody could even explain how that happens, but reinvesting in educating yourself. Just keep on feeding your mind every day and with time, and, working, not just reading and doing nothing. Because I implement, because I know other people who do that. They read everything, but when it's time for action, they just play it. But like applying what you read, man, it's it.
No, that's the piece of why I love what I do, because I get to talk to so many different people to hear about their journey and what worked, what didn't work. And I kind of get to use that information to guide myself. Yeah. And so I get exactly what you're saying about retaining that information and then implementing it. Yes. And so speaking of talking to a whole lot of different people, the fourth thing, building relationships. Because I promise you, without those relationships, you are not going to get very far. It is not just visibility. Relationships are what turn recognition into trust. How important have relationships been for you?
Oh, everything.
For building your brand.
Oh, everything. Like another thing I didn't mention is I go to networking events just to meet people to build relationships with. This suit I'm wearing from Stan Lion, this relationship I have with Stan Lion, it wasn't like magic. I met him. First of all, I saw him on Facebook. This is another thing important about him. I saw him on Facebook. He posts videos every single day. And I was like, there's another crazy guy like me. Like he posts all the time. So I started paying attention. I had met him before because, I'm usually all over the place.
Yes.
I met him before. Then I ran into him at an event. And I talked to him about, making suits for me and everything. And, making suits once a month for me. That's how it started. He makes suits for me once a month. And we talk like that. And we kind of connected. And we built a relationship. And that relationship from making those suits turned into me and him having, we have networking events. I invited you, didn't come though. But,
Ooh, put me on the spot.
So we have we've had like 2 really, really nice networking events together. The reason I'm telling you that is just how the relationship kind of built. Then I became a brand ambassador for Stan Lion. Then now I have my own clothing line with Stan Lion. And only God knows what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
And I have relationships like this with hundreds of people all over the place. And I nurture those relationships. I don't contact them when I want something. I reach out to them. Hey, what's up, man? What's going on? Yeah. How's your daughter? Like things like that. Nurture the relationships, get connections, but don't just get their phone number and end it at that. Like build a relationship. And I'm sure it's difficult, but you have to do it. That's how you grow.
Yeah, and I can testify to that because just recently I'm usually sharing things on social media all the time. And I went a little quiet for a couple of days, and I was like, he reached out to me. Hey, girl, what's going on?
It's good. I haven't seen you posted.
I haven't seen you. Are you good? And even here, listening when we were setting up, and you want some calls, and And that's the thing, right? When you build that relationship, and now you're also building your company as well. And somebody was like, you were like, okay, well, I have a team that I work with, and I'm going to, send this person there. Like, it's not going to be you.
Yeah, they wanted to be me. Yeah.
And a huge part of the work that I do with Prince George's Chamber of Commerce, that also came from, I became a member first, and I would attend everything. I would attend everything, and I would talk about it. And it got to a point where, I was talking to the CEO, to Alex, and you guys have seen him on the Spotlight a few times. And he's like, hey, you wanna be a part of the team? Because I see the work that you're doing, and you're always at all of our events. And that's how things work, showing up for people. That's what builds the trust. That's what allows people to want to work with you. And so finally, tying your brand to a larger mission. I feel like people want to skip the service piece of business, especially when they're so focused on the bottom line, which again, nobody's in business to not make money. Making money is the whole point of it. However, you have to also be able to serve. What is your mission? And so we've talked about your mission quite a few times, but
That's all I talk about, my mission.
Yes,
I know
yes.
you're tired of me. You're like, man, there's a million families, man. Shut up about it, right?
And it's such a huge goal.
It's a huge, yeah.
And how does that mission then shape the work that you're doing every day to portray that?
Yeah, the mission is the standard I use to judge any decision I'm going to make. Like, if you tell me, like, hey, I need you to do this, I'll think, like, the first thing I think about, would that help me reach my goal of 1 million families? And I make my decisions based on that. So if somebody comes to me and says, we need you to invest $10,000 into this and da-da-da-da, I'll think about that and I'll make my decision based on that. So it pushes me to a higher level, to work harder, to read more, everything. It helps me a lot.
And I think, again, that is what is so important when you're building those relationships and people are seeing the work that you're doing. Exactly what you said is that people are going to come to you with opportunities. And so being able to discern and vet what is right for me, you have to have that mission in place. You have to know who you are, because you cannot do everything. You just aren't physically able to do everything. And so it's really important to have alignment. What is the mission, and does this bring me closer to my mission? Yeah, so I love that, Eze. I love that. And so just to recap the 5 takeaways that I want to leave you guys with. Number 1, decide what you want to be known for. Number 2, show up consistently. Consistency is so important. It doesn't matter whether it's perfect, not perfect. It will get perfect over time or closer to perfection. We can never be perfect, right?
Close.
For 2026, what do you think are some of the trends that you looking at?
Some of the trends I see are buyers being very, very particular about what they want.
Okay.
They know what they want. And, with an interest rate that's a little bit higher than you and I may be used to when we purchased our homes, buyers are very sensitive to that. And that sensitivity shows up with them being a little bit more discerning when it comes to what kind of property they want. They may say, oh, I love this house, but I don't love it.
Right.
I don't want to.
Maybe it's too many stairs, too many steps, or I just want one floor, one rambler or something. Or
so I find that myself and a lot of real estate agents are literally thinking of it as how can we, address all of those priorities that buyer has and all of those reservations that they may have, because if their goal is to get into real estate, we're there to help you make that decision.
Is it a checklist that you have at the beginning of the process where let's figure out you need to be a playground, how many kids you have, or
so when I do my buyer's consultation, I sit down with them and I tell my buyers, I'm like, listen, you're going to sit down with me for an hour. We're going to go over a few things. I'm not just going to go over your beds and your baths and what you want to use it for. I'm going to ask you how you want to use it. Who is in your family? Because I think that's so much more important.
It's very important
than finding just beds and baths. You know, if you tell me, hey, I have a hobby of, you know, fixing cars, I'm going to think this person needs a garage, or this person needs these things. You know, I want a place for my child to run around. I'm going to say they need a yard. You know, I like to know how the person is going to use it before I just get into those things, because anyone can do that, and any search can do that. My job as a personal service representative with the public, I'm here to give you service. I'm here to make sure that I understand what you need and bring that to you.
Yes, that makes sense. I recently have a family member that she moved in her house in Hyattsville. She didn't realize until she moved in that she's sociable. She really wanted to be sociable with neighbors and walk to restaurants, and she realized that the community where she closed, it's not a fit, and she's now searching for another house. So that's important. That's very important. Where for me in Bowie, I'm okay with driving. I don't need to socialize and walk to the restaurant with the group of people. So it is important that you know exactly what you want when you close on a house.
And so it's always good to have those foundational conversations. Like, a lot of folks feel like, I just want to go and meet the realtor at the house, and it's like, are we buying the house, or are we buying the lifestyle of the house? Like, to me, I want to sit down with you and figure out what it is that, you know, that really makes you tick, so that I can find the right fit. Because the last thing I want is a buyer to go into a property and think of me and say, she put me in the wrong house. You know, that's kiss of death. That's not what I want to happen.
Because basically what you want to happen is you want more referrals.
Exactly, 100%. I want them to say to their friends,
and they're happy.
This was a great experience.
Great experience that they had with you. What are some of your testimonials from clients? A couple, just a couple, maybe one or two.
I have a lot of sellers lately, but I have a few buyers who were like, thank you so much. Everyone talks about how this was so hard, and you were the one person who made it so easy. She's like, I almost thought people were joking because you made it so easy, and I didn't have to do anything. And I had another one with a client who was a seller, and he said, you were on it. You communicated with me constantly, letting me know where things were, and I appreciate you. Even, you know, we navigated the shutdown a couple months ago, and he told me, like, you know, he was able to get the highest out of, you know, all of his neighbors. There were 3 of us on the market, first one to go into contract and highest price. And he said, thank you so much, because I didn't know if we were going to make it out. You know, so yeah, I love hearing the testimonials. I have a lot of, you know, good ones. You can check my Google reviews. People do say a lot of good things, and I attest to that.
Okay, that's amazing to hear, and it's very important. You and I was talking about work-life balance before we started our conversation, because we put the work in 5-6 days a week. What does your balance look like? The work-life balance, where it's like, you know, you're catering to your family, clients. What does that look like for you?
You know, it's funny because it's still a challenge. I'm not even going to lie to you. However, I feel like I do have to have times where I just shut off, because I feel like I give my all to my clients. And there are times when I have to say to them, I'm not available at this time. You know, I may have my daughter's or my son's soccer practice. I may have to take them to, you know, an appointment. I don't let people know that. I just basically say I have an engagement and I'm not available. But for the most part, I'm available for my clients. You know, and then I do try to have you know, I work as agents, we work weekends.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we work. We work nights and weekends, so that's understandable. But I have days that are non-negotiables where I need to spend time with my family, and I work for my vacations. I do, you know, want to have them 1 or 2 times a year, because I feel like when you work, you need rest.
You do.
You're a better person when you rest.
To rest. Recharge, you know, recharge yourself, and so that is awesome. You know, with that what you're pointing out. So walk me through as far as a little bit of like when you're 9 to 5, like is it CRM with your software? How is it? How is your process like day to day? Is it like cold calling, or is it just?
No, I don't cold call, but I do have a CRM where I check in with people.
Okay.
I have folks in different lists that I my sellers, my buyers, my renters, and folks that are kind of on the horizon. I want to make sure that I touch base with them regardless. I meet people at open houses, and I do have, I do make sure that I follow up with them in a timely manner to make sure that, hey, if you're interested, it's fine. I don't want to hound you. I'm not going to spam you, that kind of thing. And I do like to touch base with my sellers twice a week.
Okay.
My buyers, my buyers who are active, I try to touch base with them 2 to 3 times a week if I know they're in the process of searching. And then every Tuesday, I do check out all the off-market properties that are in the regions that my clients are looking.
Okay.
So on Tuesday, we have where we show all of the off markets in Alexandria, or there's some in Bethesda or in DC.
So Montgomery County.
Yes. We tend, and even in McLean, but I usually stick with Northern Virginia or DC. Yeah. And when I'm doing that, it allows me to see properties that are going to be on the market before my buyers.
So you're scouting as well when you're out.
I'm scouting for 2 reasons. One, so that I can continue to see the market and how it moves. And the second is to give my buyers an advantage so that if I see something that's really nice, we can get in on it before it hits Zillow and all these other places. I want them to have the advantage, so we jump on it with both feet.
Experience. Yes, that is good. So, what is some of your motivation? Is it books, or is it church, or sermons? You have to be so motivated.
I am,
and I can tell that you are. How do you motivate? Is it sermons, or your just affirmations that you have throughout the day? Or
I definitely in the morning. I think it's very important to not just pick up the phone. The number one thing I don't do is pick up my phone, and that's a habit I really took to heart.
That's hard
this year. So I usually do turn to to the Bible in the morning. I like to read a verse or so or a chapter for like my first 30 minutes between 7:30. And I have prayer, I have affirmations I do in the morning, and that is to really get me started and to get myself in a positive mindset. I feel like when you're in a positive mindset and you start that day, no one else
it makes a huge difference.
Can kind of startle you. They can do a lot of things, but when you start in a high positive, in a high positive atmosphere, you have no place else to go but up.
Right.
So
what is 2026? We've started this year with an ice storm. What is your goal for second, third quarter? Like, what is your goal? Even though we had a slow start for the first month, of the year, what is your goal? Or are you on target for your goal? Or what are some of the things you might need to implement to make sure you have a great year?
So I am very bad with goals. Like, one of my things that I say to myself is, I want to reach out to more families. I want to help more families. One of the main affirmations I have is that I love every day to be of service to people in my community. Like, that's an affirmation I have. So I want to continue this year being of service to people in my community.
And that's great, because that's building the pipeline as well too.
Yes.
Being of service, and you stay in front in mind with people, that you're there to help them. And they will remember that when they're ready to close on the house, because that's what they need, someone to like really be of service and help them with closing on a house. So what else you want to just tell us?
Well, we haven't really talked about sellers.
Oh, let's talk about the sellers. Let's talk about the sellers.
So, because I'm doing a lot more, I'm finding a lot of people are putting their houses on the market this year. So I have a lot more listings and sellers that are inquiring.
Why do you think there's more sellers this year? Is it more people moving, ready to move down from north than move down to south, or
I have more people moving out of the areas that they're in.
Okay.
Mainly pain points of like
energy bills,
tax bills, energy bills. I've heard that from some of my clients in Maryland. I've had a couple people just kind of say, I want a larger house. I have a family now, so I need to move because of that.
Okay.
Or it's just time. I want to move. I have someone wanting to move back to the district.
Okay.
And so they want to sell their property. So there's so many different
people on the move.
Yes, and people wanting to move out of the area too. I do have a number of people who are moving out to Texas or California or different places, and I'm helping them to sell their house as well. So. Helping with sellers, and it's a different beast working with sellers than buyers.
I noticed that since COVID, I think people moved into more of I just want a better quality of life.
Yes.
Not moving more, not the hustle and bustle.
No compromise.
Yes, no compromise. And I'm ready to sail and do exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I want to move to California. I've always wanted to be a surfer. I want to move to Florida just for more sunshine, or I just want to move. Yeah, I think people are really moving more towards exactly what they want to do.
100%.
And I think that's amazing. And you're there to help the sellers.
Yes.
Yeah. So
definitely.
Anything else with the sellers? Definitely making sure they want to fix it, sell it as it is.
So I have a tendency with my buyers and my sellers. I am very brutally honest.
Okay.
Because I know the mind of the buyers today and how picky they are. So when I come to the seller's home, I'm like, I won't. I can obviously look past, a lot of things. Like if you have kids and dogs and cats, I'm not looking at that.
Right.
I'm looking at the major things that are concerns to buyers, like the things that have unkept maintenance, or that are going to, make a buyer say, oh no, is there something else going on underneath, like cosmetic issues. But for the most part, I can look past your house. It can be dirty, it can be whatever. I don't care.
But roofing and electrical, certain
I
things
care
are
about
major.
those things. Yes, and I will make suggestions to my sellers, like in order to get your house in a great place for people to look at it.
Yes.
And for people to give you the highest price. You may need to do a couple of these things in order to
tweak some or major some.
Some renovations, a couple of just decluttering, things like that. That's fine.
That's fine.
And that's so I give them those suggestions.
Okay.
It's up to them whether they want to listen to me. I also may suggest staging or how we present it.
That makes a big difference. Staging of a home.
And I give them how I would market their home in this market based on those market
your
conditions.
Expertise on exactly. So that makes sense. You are just hands-on.
Yes, I am very
with the buyers and sellers, with family.
I am
motivating yourself, and it's amazing. I really thank you for your time today. This has been very helpful for consumers. And I definitely want you to let them know exactly where to reach you. Your website, phone number, email, whatever information you want to part with.
So my website is still in progress, but I do have a website on compass.com. You can look for me at Ayana Brickhouse. You can also find me via email at ayana.brickhouse@compass, COMPASS.com, and at my phone number 703-718-6344.
Ayana, you have been amazing, amazing guest today. I want to thank you so much for coming on to the show today with the Simply Bowie Publication Digital. And also, it is time for the Reader's Choice Awards. The voting is up live right now for the Reader's Choice Awards. We have over 30 categories for you to vote. Make sure you're voting this season. The winners will be revealed October the 9th at the Bowie Center for Performing Arts. So we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much for coming on to the show. Please make sure you reach out to her. She's here to service you and get you into your new home. Have a great